This morning's Breakfast Bible Bytes comes from Psalm 55, verses 5 through 7, where the psalmist agonizes over his impending death. We must all die, for death is the effect of sin and not a debt of nature, for all have sinned. Verse 5 reads, "Fear and trembling come upon me, and horror has overwhelmed me." Some might be willing to question David's faith when he finds himself with so much mortal apprehension that he is trembling at the assault of the slanderers. The horror spoken of here, perhaps, is not of impending death, but rather from an enemy that he's unable to face. The hidden effects of the slander will often cause its victims more trepidation and anxiety than an open confrontation. Without a doubt, the terror conjured up in the mind in the shadow of anticipated trouble is usually a more abundant source of fear than the trouble itself. This is the state David finds himself in. Betrayed by friends and family, his heart is wounded. His mind is besieged and overwhelmed. The instinctive trait of self-preservation is not inconsistent with godliness, for the fear of the unknown in time of great danger is a natural and God-given intuition common to all of God's creatures, including humankind. It is not taken away with our conversion, but depending on the level of our faith, it can readily be overwhelmed by the sustaining and witnessing power of God's Spirit. An observation has been made by a physician to Charles Wesley, who had watched a number of Methodists die triumphantly. His words were these: "Most people die with a fear of dying, but I never met with a people such as yours. They are none of them afraid of death, but are calm and patient and resigned to the last." This led John Wesley to state, "Our people die well." Part of the apprehension of impending death is formulated in our uncertainty of our eternal destiny that we will be forced to face, leading to the innate desire to fly away, which perhaps led the psalmist to write in verses 6 and 7, "Oh, that I had the wings like a dove, that I would fly away and rest. I would fly away to the quiet of the wilderness." Interlude. Death is the effect of sin and not a debt of nature. Hebrews 2, 14 and 15 reads, "Because God's children are human beings made of flesh and blood, the Son had become flesh and blood, for only as a human being could he die, and only by dying could he break the power of the devil, who had the power of death. Only in this way could he set free all who have lived their lives as slaves to the fear of dying." Paul's testimony is apropos for all who are in Christ, where the focus of our lives are not centered on our mortal flesh, but remain on Christ and his Spirit regardless. We read in Philippians 1, 20 through 26, "And I trust that my life will bring honor to Christ, whether I live or die. For to me, living means living for Christ, and dying is even better. But if I live, I can do more fruitful work for Christ. So I really don't know which is better. I'm torn between the two desires. I long to go to be with Christ, which would be far better for me. But for your sakes, it would be better if I continue to live. Knowing this, I'm convinced that I will remain alive, so that I may continue to help you all to grow and experience the joy of your faith."